Mel's skills are leaked, really? Whenever Mel uses a skill, her next attack will attach 3 additional projectiles, up to a maximum of 9. Whenever Mel's skills or attacks cause damage, the target will be marked with fatal afterimage, which can be stacked in... Chat, I didn't even start reading and you're spamming riot. Guy, chill out. Chill out. If the target has had enough fatal afterimage, it'll be executed directly the next time it is hit by Mel and the effect will be consumed. She has an execute on her passive. Fires a barrage of flame missiles that explode around the target location, dealing multiple rounds of damage to enemies in range. Perfect. That's the kind of spell I want to read. Simple and to the point. I can already simulate it in my head. Sounds like some kind of karma Q. Or Kaisa Q, kinda. W, Soul Mirror. Mel creates a barrier around herself, becoming immune to damage and reflecting enemy projectiles back to her attacker, while also gaining movement speed. Now, I would love to know the cooldown on this. I'm also interested to know what the stats of the spells back are, right? Like, I would imagine that if I'm Vhagar with 1000 AP and I shoot my ulted Mel and she deflects it, the deflect damage on myself counts from my stats rather than hers, you know? Like, it doesn't count from her stats. Which is disgusting. Sunburst fires a sun orb that imprisons enemies in the center and deals damage over time and slows enemies in the surrounding area. It's like a Lux E, kind of. But it imprisons enemies and deals a dot. Like an A-Soul E. Oh my god, do I even want to know what her ult is? Okay. Ignoring the distance, it will damage all enemies marked with the fatal afterimage mark on the entire map. Multiple layers of marks can cause additional damage. The higher the level of the skill, the higher the damage of the fatal damage mark. I don't get it. So her passive can apply some kind of execute stack.
Look, let's go, man.
And her
Thank you for the streams, Sally. You're my favorite streamer.
Her ult will damage all people marked with fatal afterimage, which is her passive. Multiple layers of marks can cause additional damage. There is no execute on her passive? What do you mean? It says, if the target had enough fatal afterimage, it'll be executed directly the next time it is hit by Mel. And the effect will be consumed. If the target... There's a translation error here. I don't really get it. If the target had enough fatal afterimage, it will be executed directly, which I presume is the target, or the effect, the next time it's hit by Mel. I guess the effect. Okay, so there's no execute. Like a Kalista E, I guess, or? I don't really understand her ult, what it means by ignoring the distance. Ignoring the distance, entire map.
Pog, let's go, man.
I get that it's global, chat, but how...
Thanks for everything, Mark.
Her shut up. Why did it say Mark like that? None of her spells have global effects. See what I'm saying? Like Cart Assault damages all enemies for X amount of damage. Bang. But this damages all enemies marked with fatal afterimage, which is her passive on auto attacks or skill. So how long does her passive last on you? So like if I auto attack someone in mid and run to Drake and I ult, can I hit them? I guess I can, but I guess my passive needs to be on them, right? Wait, the passive stays on them forever.
Ready to take a fight. Flash over. Just canceled. Wait, Caedrel just canceled it.
That makes more sense. I see. So whenever Mel uses a skill, her next attack will attach 3 projectiles to you, up to a maximum of 9. Whenever Mel's skills or attacks cause damage, the target will be marked with the fatal afterimage, which can be stacked infinitely. If the target had enough fatal afterimage, it'll be executed directly. So what I think there's a lot of translation errors here, obviously, because this is
the best thing to happen to League in years' time. Mark.
Yeah, much love, man. I'm just gonna mute alerts real quick while I figure this out. There's a few translation errors here from Chinese, but to me it sounds like Mel can hit you and stack passives on you and then leave you and go hit someone else on the other side of the map 2 minutes later, but you're still having this debuff of her passive on you and you're marked, so that if she ever ults, because you're still marked from minutes ago, you will take damage. Is there a way to get the stacks off you? It won't last forever, but it must last a while. It has to have some mechanic that it stays on for a long time. Otherwise, her ult doesn't make any sense. Why will you do damage to people marked with afterimage if you don't have a spell that attacks them globally? You know, it needs to stay forever. It probably stays until you're dead. Okay, so she's got a Q, which is a barrage of missiles, a reflect, an E, which is like Aurelion's soul E, and then her ult, which is a global damage tick burst, depending on how much she stacked on you previously. It sounds like she's a mid laner. Is she a mid laner or a support? Hold on one sec, here's the other leaked video. So that's her E, I think. There's the execute. So it does have an execute tick. I can see it. It does have an execute, chat. Look at the health bar. Is that her Q or her E? Looks like her E, no? Because it's no barrage of missiles. That's her Q. Okay, that's her Q. See what I'm saying? Look. Look at their health bar. It's normal. When a spell hits, the passive applies, so there's a mark here for execute. So there is an execute on this champ. The W is just a spell reflect. If anyone speaks Mandarin, I guess, right? The Chinese? If it says any timers here, let me know. If it says like how long or duration or whatever. Wait, hold up! Hold up! What? Wait, I thought it was reflecting skill shots. I didn't realize you could immune top point and clicks. What? Huh? I thought it was reflecting skill shots. Is Garen ult a projectile? Maybe I'm the crazy one here. Okay, let's clarify one thing. When Mel presses W, she reflects spells. But does she also become immune to all damage? Does she become immune to all spells? So for example, let's take a very basic spell. If I press Lee Sin kick on Mel in this, is she immune to damage? It's okay, so it's basically just Fiora W reflect without the stun. Okay, I thought it was just a reflect. Okay, that changes a lot. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. Is this mechanic in other games? I feel like this mechanic is quite a... Not a common mechanic, but does Dota have this mechanic? I feel like this mechanic of reflecting spells. So the reason I say that is like I used to play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh when I was younger, and there's a spell in Yu-Gi-Oh. I can't remember the name of it, but the image is like two cones, and it's a trap card, and it reflects. It's not Mirror Force. Magic Cylinder, I think. Is it Magic Cylinder? Yeah, there it is. The two cones. I feel like this is... I remember having this when I was a kid in my deck. It was so OP. I feel like this is a pretty standard mechanic for fantasy games, isn't it? Like reflecting things. I really want to know how the mechanic works of reflecting skill shots. Like, by the looks of the coding, when you throw a skill shot, it probably shoots it back at you in the direction that you click, I guess. So it's probably easy... At a good range, it's probably easy to dodge reflected Qs, right? So if I Q and I click down and she pops reflect, all I have to do is click back up, right? And surely it tracks. Wait, hold up. That shit bent. Did you see that? Am I fucking crazy? It's heat seeking? Is that a homing thing? Bro, that luck skill shot looks like it bent to me. Or am I fucking dumb? I'm not trying to make shit up here. Ooh, maybe not in slow motion. Didn't look like it bent. Oh, it does a little bit though. Wait, poppy ult is not something I thought about. What the fuck? What? Or an ult? So this is her E. It's kind of like Aurelion Sol, I think. It roots the first target. Wait, that guy just used W for move speed. This is her ult now. So she puts her passive on them. She queued on the ground. I think this means that they have 3 stacks. This means that they have 9 stacks. And you can see the execute threshold is higher. See that? The execute threshold, I'm guessing, is higher because she has more stacks. And then she can ult and explode the stacks. Like that. And then execute you. Okay. Okay, I kind of get her kit now. There's a couple of questions I have, but... Her Q is very simple. It looks like a very simple poke wave clear spell. You press it, it does AoE damage on the ground. Sure. Bang. Q. Simple. Her W, I have a lot of questions about where the skill shots fly back out, what skill shots she can immune. It looks like she can immune everything. The E looks pretty standard as well. You kind of just throw a cone, you throw like a spell in a direction, and it roots the person in the middle, and it does tick damage. So this thing here is doing tick damage like Aurelion Sol E, if you're inside it, I think. All of her spells apply 3 stacks. And a maximum of 9. So you can see these people have 3 stacks on them from the E. And they have an execute threshold. And that execute threshold can only be procced by the ult, right? I think. There is no max. What do you mean there is no max? I thought it said here there's a max. Up to a maximum of 9. Oh, I see. Wait, whenever... Oh, I see. That's... Her next attack will attach 3 additional projectiles up to maximum of 9. Oh, that's a different one. That's her projectiles. This is the stack, isn't it? Fatal Afterimage. That can be stacked infinitely. Wait, hold up. So, the if you constantly stack on someone, the execute threshold can just progressively go up and 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 up, right? How long do these stacks last on you? How can you get them off? The biggest questions to me are, how long does that passive last until it fades? How long does it last? Because I feel like it's going to last a while. Maybe 3 business days. And I want to know how her W reflects skill shots to predict. If you reflect skill shots and they become homing missiles. If they become homing missiles, I would love to know that. That would be crazy. It resets if you get executed. Oh, great. So if you die, the stacks come off. Good. Thanks for that. Interesting. Well, this champ looks crazy. The most important thing that this champ doesn't have, chat, and we'll all say a prayer for this as a thank you, Riot Games. It doesn't have a dash. This champ looks insanely immobile. Its only way of mobility is by using its own peel spell. So like you have 1 escape, and it's a reflect. This champ could be a fucking sitting duck Like, its execute looks great. But I'm guessing, like, if she's a mid laner, like, you can QE the wave to push. Your poke is probably okay, but this champ takes a lot of ramp up time. You need to slowly add your passive to them and keep it stacked. If her passive falls off after like 5 seconds, I think this champ could be pretty weak. You have barely any CC. You have no mobility. You have an execute that needs time to be stacked. The problem is, this is her passive will decide whether she's OP. Because it stacks infinitely. So how long does it take to fall off? If it can stay on you for like a minute, then this champ's going to be absolutely OP, right? Because think of it like, for example, the way you play against Fiora is if you're this champion and the stack appears here, you just go out of vision and come back and it'll reappear somewhere else, you know? So you can actually play the lane. Or like Cassio Qs you, you can just run away for a bit, wait for it, and then you can come back so she can't press E. But if this shit lasts on you for a while, ooh, it's like if it's like Kalista E and it like falls off after like a couple seconds, then it's probably not that OP. Yeah. And I don't think it'll be a support, because if you could use Soul Mirror on an ally, if you could cast this on an ally, I think she would be a really strong support. But you can't. So I don't think she's going to go support. Okay, this might sound crazy, okay? This might be a hot take and this might age really poorly. But from the information I have so far, this champ looks dog shit. This champ sucks. I think this champ just sucks. It's immobile, has barely any peel tools, has very low CC, and it relies on a stacking passive execute burst in mid lane. Which she's probably outranged by all the mids as well. All I need to know is how long her passive lasts. And if it's not that long, then I think this champ doesn't look that strong. Unless her Q damage is super high. And it like, if her Q damage is like super low cooldown, and you can just like spam it with like pretty long range, then it's probably annoying as fuck. But if her Q cooldown is what I think it is, like a mid-range, something like a Syndra Q, I don't know, man. The E also looks kind of mid. That projectile speed is pretty shit. Her lane phase sounds kind of weak. In team fights, I can see her being pretty good. Like in a team fight, her EQ combo, kite back, and then somehow ult. You can maybe like execute someone. But like, for example, look at this fight, right? Just stop and imagine she's Syndra. Okay, imagine this is Syndra. Q, E, W, R, they're all stacked up. It looks great. But if you're any other mage here, it's even stronger than what she does. She's level 14. Like, that's not that impressive. If you just simulate this as a different mage, she takes a while to ramp up, you know? This is my problem. She's got burst in her kit, but she's a ramp up. Like, her passive only has 3 stacks on these people. She needs to ramp it up a bit more and more and more. Now it gets to 9 and then... So, what is this? Oh god, what is this clip? Don't tell me this is just her one-shotting someone. So how long? So her passive does last a long time. This is what I'm saying. If her passive lasts a while, then it's quite strong. But like, look at Garen. She Qs him. Her E misses completely. Auto attack. Oh, her E does tag him a little bit. The passive's still on. Still on. Still on. Still on. Still on. But her passive goes to up even more now. Why? Why did her passive go up even more? Okay, this is where it starts. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's watch this. Her Q cooldown is very low. But she was level 9 there. So she has, but it's a 4-second cooldown with blue buff and lost chapter. 4-second, and the range on that Q is crazy. Look at the range on this Q. She fired it behind the tower. Pretty good range on it actually. Pretty low cooldown.
没用，兄弟，烫死了，烫死了，烫死了，烫死了！白色，有大有大有大。
Yeah, it's a lot of mana.
哎，可以 ，nice。这是什么蛮王？不会开大的话可以打。王，我没学大，兄弟，他们中单踢了的，他追的话可以打。他死了，他死，他死，他死！太恶心了吧，这英雄！他送了，他送了。nice，这新英雄下把。 还能玩吗？太恐怖了吧，这英雄！拉扯一下，拉扯一下，等一下我，等一下我，等一下我。什么东西啊？这中单巨变态。
It looks so shit. I'm not even kidding. It looks terrible. She looks terrible. You can be like, okay, this is my take, okay? She uses her full combo, QER, on a level 8 pike when she's 2.5 items 6-0. And she has to ult to execute it. Okay. Then you fast forward to the next fight. She's 8-0, 3 items. And a level 9 pike, she's level 14. If I Syndra QE this pike here with these items at this score, he is one-shot. Look at Garen's health. That's QER. He got hit by a little bit of the E. She's one-shotting squishies, but I actually think her damage is not that... What did he land on Garen? Just a tick of E, I think. Looks like it's just the E exploding on him, and then he ults. He ult. And I know it's an execute mechanic, right? I feel like this champ needs time to ramp up. But the games... These days, the game team fights are like this. Someone is one-shot. And that's it. Like, look at how immobile she is. This is her. Lab PVG09. Level 15. Look. Garen just... She's 1 HP. I don't know if you can see it on the left. And look at Garen's HP. Like... She's just getting run down. She has no escape, no dashes, no CC. She has no self-peel apart from one reflect spell. Season 1 versus Season 15. I mean, the Garen is Giga fed. Not much you can do against fed Garen as a mage sometimes. Did he counter pick Garen into Mel? Out sustain her damage, out push her, and then just one tap her in fights. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna age terribly, but from what I've seen, small other things. Just a couple small other things. It costs 100 mana to press Q. She has 1200 mana. Just imagine she doesn't have blue buff. Isn't that insanely high? 100 mana per Q? And that's her main poke? Yeah, you're gonna have to go tier for sure. I'm not sold into the champ being OP just yet. Let's see if they fine-tune her. Let's see if they fine-tune her a bit. But I'm interested to see. I will listen to Nemesis's take on the champ. He's actually challenger, not like some frauds. Shut up. Shut up. I grinded for 10 days and didn't make it. So what? So what?